Our first speaker today is Dalton Hermes from Hermes Landscaping and Nursery Incorporated. Dalton needs no introduction, but I'll still introduce him because his bio is really long, so I think it's important for me to tell you a little bit about what they have been doing. So Hermes, as you know, is one of the oldest and largest landscaping companies in Kansas City. And it's a family-owned business, and it has grown from humble beginnings in 1965, achieving steady growth towards its current 250-strong seasonal workforce. And of course, the company provides landscaping for both commercial and residential customers in the Kansas City metro area and beyond, and has been included in the country's top 100 landscaping, maintenance, irrigation, and snow removal companies, as named by Lawn and Landscape, Landscape Maintenance, Irrigation, and Snow magazines for the last several years running. And in 2010, the company was honored with Planet Environmental Improvement Awards for the Sprint Center and the Garmin International Landscapes. And in addition to the landscaping side of the business, Hermes also grows premium nursery stock on about 500 acres in Johnson County, Kansas, and they supply plant materials to landscapers and retail nurseries all over the country. Dalton Hermes became vice president of Hermes Company in 1986 and has served as the company's CEO since 1990. Dalton studied civil engineering at UCLA and has been an active member of numerous Kansas City and Johnson County organizations, including the Kansas City and Lenexa chambers. And he's also on the directorial board at Johnson County Community College and Nelson Atkins Museum. And today, he's going to talk about 2011 industry trends. Welcome, Dalton.
So they talk about the power of one and what a difference one person can make in achievement in life, in the world, and education. But I can tell you this program at Johnson County Community College, after Dr. Lika Sridhar began running it, is a different program, and what a difference it's made for us, for our industry. What a tremendous resource we have here. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for this inaugural event. And I'm certain all these inaugural events most often start small and grow, and I'm confident this one will continue to grow. I have an immediate suggestion on what we can do to make it better, and this is based on who I see in the audience and also being the father of 5 children, but I would move the time from about noon to midnight, and that's when they'll be here. So we'll make that correction next year. So the few of you students that are here, welcome. And I guess I had kind of prepared my remarks thinking I would be talking more to students than industry peers, and I found myself up here perhaps with more industry peers before me. And so sometimes I wonder what qualifies me to talk to you guys, because I think you all are so extraordinary, have great companies and education in this field, which I don't have, but it's nice to be with you. And I look at the other speakers that are here today, and to be asked to be among them is an honor. But Alan Stevens will be here, Collin Wamsley, Eric Nelson, Frank Mayle, Randy James, Carl Whitcomb, all great names in our industry. And I guess I would just offer this, that one among those speakers I think I would pity when he gets up to speak, because he's got a defective resume, as he spent 12 years working at Hermes Landscaping. That would be Randy James. So, you know, there was, some years ago, I was at a function in Topeka. It was sponsored by the Kansas Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and they're handing out the big award for, it's called the Kansas Business and History Hall of Fame Award. And really, some accomplished people historically have been named or received this award. Walter Chrysler, people, you know, famous Kansans that have been industrialists. But the year I was there was a man named Philip Anschutz, who was a brother, I believe, of Wendell Anschutz, who was a local TV personality. Philip had an incredible career, and Fortune magazine at that time had put him on the cover and called him the billionaire next door, because he had been so successful in his businesses and nobody knew about him. He was under the radar. but he came and received this award from Bill Graves that night, and he got up, and it was so, he doesn't have a big stature, but so precise and so focused in his remarks. And he just said, I saw some young people here tonight, and I thought I would offer a few ideas on what helped make me successful. And it was 4 items, and I've never forgotten them, but one was take risks. Second one was mistakes are okay. The third one was surround yourself with people who are smarter than you are. And the fourth one is take action. And they've stuck with me for a long time. And so I kind of offer that as a preface for me being up here and addressing you. And it's kind of focusing on the second one there, that mistakes are okay, because that's probably more than anything what qualifies me to be up in front of you, is that I've made many more mistakes than I've done things right, I'm sure. And it's always in the mistakes that we make that we learn. And it's in adversity that we learn. So, and at the conclusion of this, if anybody wants time with me to run through mistakes made, I could spend a day doing that with you. So we're really fortunate to be in this green industry. It's an amazing place to be. It's the only industry that I'm aware of where we get to go out and co-create with nature and create beauty and co-create on God's canvas and make this world more beautiful. And it's really a fabulous business to be in. It's what I call the original green industry. And I found the people over the years in this industry to be hardworking, to be open and supportive, to be dynamic. I think that one of the things that's true about this industry always, well, particularly now, is that the margins are slim, it's very competitive, but it's very gratifying, I think, for all of us to go around the city after we've left a trail, and a trail of beauty, and a trail of trees, and a trail of great lawns, and landscapes that people are able to enjoy for years. The trends that we see into the future are actually, we're on the front page, I guess on the original screen, but I'm going to run through them here. We see an integration with nature. And so I think we're seeing this at home, we're seeing this in the workplace, we're seeing this in school, and we see this partly as a result or a reaction to the technology movement. So on the home front, and I'll run through some of these with you, but the studies have shown that the human interaction with nature increases satisfaction and a sense of well-being, lowers crime, increases property values, lowers blood pressure, aids in recovery from illness. And we're seeing some evidence that homeowners are leaving behind the big lawns for edible landscapes, native plantings, wildlife, attracting designs. There's an organization called Food Not Lawns, and it's actually a national organization, I believe, but there's a Kansas City chapter, and the website is there for your reference. Actually, incidentally, if anybody at the conclusion of this wants a copy of this this PowerPoint presentation, you can send me an email, and I'll forward a copy to you. So second thing, in the workplace, work studies conclude that a view of nature enables faster recovery from stress, mental fatigue and illness, increases productivity, and increases the customer flow in sales and retail settings. There's a great pilot test that's being put together by DST, who's really a forward-thinking, progressive, great Kansas City company down at 18th and Broadway, and they're working on this kind of a workplace of tomorrow, but a green space, integrating the office and nature, and they're piloting some projects there. And there's also some links there that I'll send to you that's on that subject. Integration with nature in schools. So we see an increase in cognitive functioning. Children are less aggressive, more cooperative, have an increased sense of self-worth, are less likely to suffer obesity. There's a great book out that speaks to this called Last Child in the Woods by Richard Louv, who actually is a Kansas City native but has a national reputation now for what he's doing. Explains the role of nature in the development of physical and emotional health. And then finally, on this integration with nature, I think we're seeing, my sense is that we're seeing a reaction to all the technology and a people's desire to be more connected with nature as a result of a draw away from it, I would say. And so, and you see it in people's desire to, the whole foods phenomena, the desire for organic clothing, for organic food, for organic ways of life. And there's an interesting video I watched recently on this urban vertical agriculture, but these architects, different places in the world, are developing these concepts for designing structures where they're actually doing farming in urban areas on high-rise buildings. And I've seen some where they'll take the perimeter of the building, the outside that faces the environment, and create green walls and green roofs and the bio-friendly environments where they can produce crops in urban settings. Residential outdoor areas, green roofs, green walls. Kansas City Center for Urban Agriculture is another link there. The next trend that we're seeing is an increase of customer expectations and the way that companies are having to respond. But there's a desire on the part of the consumer for better, faster, cheaper, and we in industry are having to face that phenomenon. And how do we execute flawlessly the expectations of the customers? You know, in the case of lawn treatment, as an example, expectation, 0 weeds, 0 pests. In the case of the trees that we grow in the nursery, 0 flaws, perfect canopies, no scars on the trunk, no scars on the bark. In the case of annual plantings, no failed performance, and every tulip is up, and every tulip is beautiful, and every tulip shows. And so this challenge for all of us and how we meet this ever-increasing set of customer expectations is a trend as an industry that we're all going to deal with. The way we operate is changing. The global economy is transformed from a manufacturing economy to a service-based economy. Again, meeting the customer expectations in the future and the flawless execution, and the role of the social media and the internet, where companies no longer have the ability to make an error and not recover the service and not have a lot of potential customers and prospects know about it. So the need to stay highly focused, maintain the integrity in our businesses, and respond quickly to customer problems is going to be paramount going forward. The next one we have, seeing is sustainability in the consumer. Out, I think, are the big lawns, the harsh chemicals, the non-native varieties. In are pesticide-free landscapes, water management, organic treatments, edible landscapes, native plants. Growers face a number of challenges, particularly in the business that we're in the tree business, because we are dealing with a 5-year crop. And so we'll go, and the preferences seem to be very fickle, but we'll go out and talk to landscape architects today and say, what varieties should we grow? And we grow those varieties. And 5 years from now, when the trees are ready to harvest, the landscape architects have changed their opinion and they're wanting something different. And that something different is something that's just been introduced as a new variety, and there's no commercial production of it. And so we, as a nursery, face that challenge. Another trend that we see is the economy post-recession that we're in, and how we as businesses need to adapt and change. But there's a big, in our case, and I think in most businesses, a big adjustment in how we accept risk and how much debt we take on. There's an adjustment in how banks lend money or don't lend money, and what kind of terms they have on their lending. There is a shift in the way consumers make spending decisions, and I think the days when people are willing to take on second mortgages for items that are wants and not needs, we'll say, is diminishing. How the workplace productivity changes and how people are expected and will be expected to produce more with less, and how employees in the workplace are asked to adapt to different positions, to different job duties. We'll see that. We're seeing that in our company. We're seeing that in other companies. The workplace of tomorrow. We'll see businesses communicating with customers in different ways, utilizing crowdsourcing and collaboration, greener workspaces, a changing corporate culture, mission, vision, values that align with both the customers and the employees, a social responsibility, a culture of giving back, environmental responsibility, and progressive business practices. There's this area of corporate social responsibility. I think what I'm sensing is that employees are going to be drawn to the companies that have a corporate social responsibility pledge and program, who are committed to giving back to the community, who are committed to taking care of the environment, and the customers are going to do the same thing. So it's going to be incumbent on companies to get really serious about being socially responsible, to draw employees, to draw this new workforce that we're here before today. There's some nice blogs there and other internet links that speak to this. Another trend that's been the case for a number of years, but it don't see much let up, is the competition and regulation. Used to be the margins that we had in our business, we could afford to make a few mistakes. And it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. The margins are so tight, and the job is bid so tight, and the efficiencies are so great that there's no longer any time for failure to execute. There's no longer space for a lack of, I would just say mistakes. Eroding margins, labor shortages, it's immediate access to knowledge, and the things that, for example, in our company that took 10 or 15 or 20 years to develop, the expertise, the procedures, the processes, now are available to people at a mouse click. And so it makes it makes the competition real, makes the competition fierce, and I think in the end that's all good. It forces us all to be better, but it's a painful process to go through. I believe that the government has become our adversary, and all the things that happen in the government that impede our ability to do business. And it's one of those things that it happens so gradually over time that you don't really notice it, and you accept it because it's the way it's always been. But if people were to step back and say, and really take an objective look at what we as business owners are having to contend with in labor practices and environmental requirements and transportation requirements, I think there'd be a lot of people that draw the same conclusion that I do, that they are adversarial. So the Department of Labor, the Department of Transportation, Immigration, Customs Enforcement, EPA, DHE, OSHA, et cetera, et cetera. And I actually was in Washington last week. So I don't know how many in this room companies might be H-2B users, but the H-2B program is in peril right now because one of the things they've done is they've they've modified the way that the Department of Labor is going to calculate the wages that are paid to the H-2B workers. And so they've decided that they invited the organized labor to come in and sit at the table. And organized labor, the AFL-CIO, has helped Department of Labor determine that the wages should be set on the highest of the collective bargaining agreement in the area, which is the union rate, or the Davis-Bacon rate, which is the federal, the rate that are paid to federal employees on construction work, or what we're paying, what the employers are paying. So they're going to take the highest of those three. Well, the highest is going to be that union rate. And so I think without some intervention, I think that program for most H-2B users is going to be imperiled, if not killed. Inflation, I think, is going to be coming, and it's going to affect every aspect of our business. So we've got a couple links there for the information on the government regulation. A commoditization and innovation is another trend. Consumers want better, faster, cheaper. 50 pennies are better than 2 quarters. And the only way out of that, in my opinion, is to innovate. The only way out for companies is to find activities and wants of consumers that nobody else is offering. And the Planet organization is this month or next month going to release a crystal ball report on innovation, which talks about the process companies go through and what some of our industry peers have done historically to pull themselves out of that rat race. And I firmly believe, and we're talking about that in our company, is how we become a more innovative company. So finally, the question is, what do we do about it? And as an organization, as individuals, we have develops the soft skills. The soft skills, to me, that I think every student that's coming through this program and through K-State should have is basic sales understanding, Spanish, accounting, human relations skills, customer service skills, business, basic business, and basic leadership skills. And I don't know how much of that is part of the curriculum here. Seems like we can learn the horticulture and we can learn the hard skills, and that's kind of the baseline. But how do we take it to market, and how do we use that knowledge to really make a difference? And without the soft skills, we can't do it. So we spend a fair amount of time in our company training in those areas of soft skills. Continuously adapt and learn. Integrity is key. Give back and pay forward, and work on yourself as much as your business. So I want to take just a minute in closing and talk about that. Work on yourself as much as your business. But so this would be really, I intended this for students, but really it's probably a piece of advice for all of us at any point in our lives. But we all, as we go through life, are going to be challenged. We're going to find moments of adversity. We're going to find moments when we're tested in business, or tested in family, or tested personally to our very core. And the question is, what resources do we have to address those challenges when they come our way? Because they will. And so the thing that the path I've been on in recent years is the path to really start to develop who I am inside, and what my strengths are, what my abilities are, what I can bring to the table. And I think it is very much as important to work on ourselves as it is to work in our jobs. So there's a couple references here, and there's some other fabulous ones, but this book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So how many in the room have read it? Yeah. So you all know, and for those of you who don't, I'll tell you the quick story, but Napoleon Hill was a law student at Georgetown, 1910, roughly 1911, he had had this idea that he would go write historical, biographical sketches of the accomplished people, the rich and famous, and sell them to the journals and pay his way through college. And so he called Andrew Carnegie and said, "I'd like to do this." And Andrew Carnegie said, "That's fine, come over." So it's a Friday afternoon, and he goes over. And he spends 3 hours with Andrew Carnegie writing this sketch, and he gets up to leave, and Carnegie says, "Where are you going?" And Napoleon Hill says, "Well, I'm going to go write my article." And Carnegie says, "Well, I'm not finished, so come out to my house for the weekend, and we're going to talk." So they spent Saturday and Sunday together. At the end of Sunday, Carnegie says to Napoleon Hill, he says, "I got a proposal for you." He said, "I want you to spend the next 20 years of your life studying successful people and what made them successful. And at the end of that, I want you to write a book." And he said, "And I will pay your expenses, but I'm not going to pay any of your salary. Do you want the job?" And here's this 23-year-old kid that's saying, talking to at that time, the richest man in the world, wanting him to spend the next 20 years of his life working for free. And he took the job. And the story goes, Carnegie said, "Well, if you had delayed another 30 seconds, I would have withdrawn the offer." So he took the job. He spent the next 20 years writing on that subject. And his first assignment was to go to Detroit to talk to somebody up there that worked in a machine shop. So he takes a train up to Detroit, and he knocks on this door late at night, and this greasy guy walks up from the back and is covered with, his sport coat's covered and his hat's creased down. And he said it was really a short interview. He said most of the responses were one word, and most of those words were no. Napoleon Hill walks out, and he scratches his head. "Why did Andrew Carnegie send me up to Detroit to talk to this grease monkey named Henry Ford?" And so the story goes like that. So he studied or interviewed the likes of Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell and Franklin Roosevelt and Teddy Roosevelt, et cetera, et cetera. So there's richness. The Think and Grow Rich is not, there's 10 or 12 riches, and like number 10 or 12 on the list is financial, and the other ones are friendships and relationship with God and health and et cetera, et cetera. It's a fabulous book. It's got some really wonderful practical applications. There's the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I get every day a free newsletter. It's called Thought for the Day from them. And then this Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn, and some of you perhaps listen to that. But I give that all to you because I'm wanting to share the things that have made a difference in my life, to adapt and to accommodate the challenges that come our way. All the things we talk about as trends are all things that are going to challenge us. And we've all been through this economy the last 2 years. It's challenged some businesses more than others. It's challenged many families. It's challenged many individuals. And so changes environment will do that, and changes in trends will do that. And so the best gift I can give you in signing off here is how we can confront, take on, and be successful through that adversity. So thank you very much.